Welcome to the FreshStart at Your Library Work Readiness, Pre-Employment, and Self-Development session. This is a project that is supported by the New Jersey State Library and funded by the Institute of Museum and Library Services. In order to procure employment for returning citizens, at-risk youth, and for families of incarcerated persons, it is extremely important to hold workshops that can focus on securing and maintaining employment. In this time of COVID-19, with so many libraries closed, we have decided to produce videos that will help persons who are returning from incarceration, who have been incarcerated at previous times, at-risk youth who are in danger of becoming incarcerated, and families of incarcerated persons who so often share the trauma and the pain and the real struggle of incarceration in their everyday lives. Eventually, these workshops will be held in the 6 libraries that are a part of the FreshStart at Your Library family: Patterson, Newark, Long Branch, Trenton, Atlantic City, Cumberland County, and Philadelphia Free Public Library. But until such time that the COVID-19 pandemic has lessened and all of the libraries are back open and we are functioning partially as we used to, we'll be doing these sessions in a video format so they can be shared in a safe environment, your own home, on your computer or your phone or your tablet. This project is also partnered with the New Jersey State Parole Board and the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce, because it is essential that folks coming out on parole be aware of this new and innovative project, and also that the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce continue to send us jobs of employers all over the state who will employ formerly incarcerated persons. So the basic philosophy of FreshStart at Your Library Workplace Readiness is transformation and transition. And that is encompassed by 1, living wage employment, entrepreneurial endeavors, safe transitional housing and permanent housing, which would lead to home ownership, positive work, atonement in the community, leadership, returning citizens as solutions based on shared experiences and visions, recognizing the importance of collective responsibility and workload, and understanding that success is multi-layered and constantly being redefined. Now let's explore a couple of those phrases. First of all, living wage employment is essential for formerly incarcerated persons because you have to make money to support a lifestyle that is crime-free. You cannot ask folks who were formerly doing well financially, I'll bet through illegal means, to come out of prison and take low-paying jobs and not support their family in a way that they feel is necessary to live. We need living wage employment. We need to be able to take care of our families, raise our children, and be comfortable. And in that way, you're not tempted back into criminal lifestyles. The significance of entrepreneurship is that at some point in time, and hopefully sooner rather than later, entrepreneurship should be the goal. You cannot build wealth working for someone else, but you can lay the foundation for entrepreneurship with a solid job and savings that would allow you to then look at what you do best, what your dreams are, and say, this is where I want to be in the next 2 to 5 years, and work toward that goal. Working for yourself should be a goal of formerly incarcerated people. We worked for ourselves in the past. Now we need to work for ourselves legally in the future. Safe transitional housing and permanent housing leading to home ownership. It's important when we are transitioning to have safe housing, have a safe place, have a sanctuary from the world, which can be transitional in focus until it becomes permanent. But eventually we want to talk about home ownership. Owning property, owning a home provides security for your family, and that's the foundation of wealth. That's how wealth is passed from one generation to the next through home ownership. Positive work, atonement. What does the word atonement mean? It means looking at your past life and saying, I need to atone, I need to recompense, I need to make up for the things that I've done in the past to my family, to my community, and to myself. I need to do positive things to make up for all the negative things in my past, because I realize that at some point in my life, the scales of justice need to be balanced. Whether you have a spiritual base or a metaphysical base, it doesn't matter. All in life, there's positive and there's negatives, and we need to balance those scales and move in positive directions. Leadership. It's important that formerly incarcerated people understand that due to their shared experiences and their visions and the work that we've done while we were incarcerated to bring us to the point of freedom is leadership. And when we come out here into society, especially for the younger people who have no knowledge of what mass incarceration is, we need to exercise leadership, and we can stir young people away from the things that's going to lead them to those prison walls. That's our responsibility. That's collective responsibility. It's responsibility that we owe to our families and to our community. And when we understand that success is multi-layered, meaning it comes with different steps and is constantly being redefined as we move forward in our lives. So when we talk about workplace readiness, we have to understand or really think about the concept. What does workplace readiness really mean? What do employers want? What would you want if you were the employer? What are the responsibilities of an employer? What are the responsibilities of an employee? How does hard work, discipline, and innovative thinking play in the workplace? If you were an employer, you would want an employee who came to work every day, was on time, and contributed to your making money. Employers are in business to make money. It's not just about your job. Many folks have the concept of, I'm going to work and my sole concern is getting a paycheck. That's only a part of it. Yes, your paycheck sustains your life, but you have to learn to look at employment from the point of view of the employer. What are they trying to do? They're trying to present a product or services to the public and be paid for it, and they're trying to gain wealth. If you assist your employer, help them to streamline their operation, if you work hard, you're not only becoming a valued employee, you're laying the foundation for when you become the employer, when you become the entrepreneur, when you are doing the hiring. And that's extremely important. So we talk about hard work, discipline, and innovative thinking, not just in our presence, but as a bridge to the future. So let's think for a moment in the marketplace. What are some of the reasons for persons to get terminated or suspended? Because we're talking about positive and negative. So to attain the positive, you must avoid the negative. So there are certain reasons why employees get terminated or suspended. The first and foremost is no call, no show. When you don't call, when you don't show up for work, you're saying to your employer, I don't care about this. I'm only here for a paycheck, and if I lose my job, it doesn't mean that much. Because if you don't call and you don't show up, certainly you're going to lose your job. Continuous lateness shows that you don't care about your job. Workplace conflicts, physical intimidation, and violence should never be a part of the workplace. If you're involved in any of those three things, you're going to lose your job. You are not going to maintain employment. Sexual harassment. Understand that there's no place for sexual liaisons in the marketplace. There are plenty of opportunities, instances, a time and a place for romance and sexual relationships. It's just not on your job. That's another phase of your life. Understand that, keep that out of the marketplace, and you will prosper. High level of phone use. Understand that when you clock in, or when you sit at your desk, or when you go to your space of work, your phone should be on Do Not Disturb. It should be in your pocket. And what you need to do is inform your family, your friends, to call you on your break time, call you at lunch. You have to exercise personal discipline. You need to leave personal disputes or romantic conversation or business calls outside of your work time. You need to respect the company policies, because the reality is, if you're spending a lot of time on the phone when you're supposed to be working, you're stealing time from your employer. That's theft of services. And folks don't look at it like that. Oh, I'm just going to call my girl right quick, or I got to check on this or that. You need to organize your life so that during your work time, your children are taken care of. Any business you have outside of work is on hold, and you're given a good day's work. Employers, understand you have a family. You may have a child in daycare or in school. Those are exceptions. But if it's constant, it's going to be reason for dismissal. It's that simple. You have to learn how to manage your time well. Regular and timely attendance at work means you have to plan. You have to solve transportation problems. You may have to coordinate public transportation routes. You have to manage the children, your childcare, your school days, your holidays. All that's necessary and a part of good time management. The importance of proper rest, getting enough sleep, so you're not showing up for work in the morning exhausted. Good nutrition, managing your tasks is extremely important. There's a very good app called RememberTheMilk.com. And it's an app you go on and you actually schedule your time. All the things you need to do during the week, you put it in the app. So in an organized fashion, you can run your life. If your life is organized, your work will be organized, and you will do much better. That is just a something to live by, a principle to live by. There are small things that can be conflicts on your job. If you deviate from your assigned tasks, if you return late from work breaks, if you are having poor customer relations, remember that your interactions with the customers is a reflection on the work, the service, and the reputation of the company that you are working for. So sometimes you have to really bite your tongue, because the customers can seriously get out of pocket. And you have to be strong enough to say, I'm not going to lose my job because that person can't think. I have to think for myself and a customer that is not clear in their thinking process. In terms, again, of talking about sexual politics in the workplace, the Me Too movement is here and is strong. It is time out for men looking at their female workmates or employees or even customers as a place for them to enjoy their sexuality. You cannot harass females, and females can't harass other females or males on the job. There should be no sexual harassment on the job. Regardless of your sexual orientation, keep it out of the marketplace. Understand what is inappropriate language, what constitutes sexual harassment, and understand that not having workplace sexual relationships is the key to a good employment record. Also, when we talk about moving forward, everything is not work. What you do in other areas of your life contribute to your work, and what you do at work contributes to other areas of your life. So the importance of primary relationships to transitional success cannot be overstated. Who are your primary relationships? Who in your family can you depend on? Your parents, your significant others, extended family, your children, your neighbors, religious community or social groups. All of these relationships are important. The world is made up of relationships. Almost everywhere you go, everything you do depends upon relationships. No one person is an island independent of all other people. And the relationships that we build and we nurture often are a key to our success in life. There's another thing that's extremely important when we talk about relationships. It's the fact that your probation or your parole officer should be viewed as a primary relationships. You need to create, nurture, and sustain that relationship with your probation or parole office. And that's vital because they are the gateway to continued freedom. And not only are they the gateway to continued freedom, they could very well be one of your answers in locating employment. They're responsible for public safety, and they have to consider how your conduct falls into the guidelines that allow them to continue to monitor your life and your behavior. Once your probation officer or your parole officer loses respect for a person on their caseload, and they consider you a potential threat to society or to themselves, your path back to prison is pretty well fairly established. So it's extremely important that you establish a relationship, that you create an atmosphere of trust, establish that you're more than a number, that you are a real person, and that you want to be a productive citizen. And parole officers and probation officers have been doing this for a while, and the good ones can spot bullshit in a heartbeat. So you need to be real, and you need to be serious about your life, and they will be serious about helping you to continue freedom in your life. If you show your parole officer that you're serious about change and will do whatever you take, and that you will do whatever it takes to move your life forward, they will be an asset and an ally, not an enemy. In the same way that you want to build strong relationships in your family, in your community, with your probation or parole officer, you want to build strong work relationships. Your supervisor, your fellow co-workers, whether they be staff, administrative. You need to establish a good business working relationships. Yet you need to be careful because often friendships in the marketplace can involve some disputes. It can become, folks can become overly familiar with you, and that can lead to problems. It's not necessary for you to disclose your status, to give too much of your personal history. You have to understand what is too much information. Once you allow a person into your personal space and your personal business, different things can happen. You can eliminate that by being just friendly enough to exist in your workplace, do your job, and seek to develop friendly relationships outside of your job in the community. Or if you do develop strong friendships on your job, be selective in who you befriend. Oftentimes there can be disputes with coworkers or supervisors, and this can be because of the culture, work output. It could be a wide variety of things. So you have to be extremely careful in your relationships with your coworkers. You have to learn how to resolve conflicts, but even more important, you need to be able to see conflicts coming in advance. You need to be observant. There are many more points that we are going to discuss in subsequent videos. This is a more introduction to workplace readiness, and I really hope that some of the things we've discussed you will take to heart. It's extremely important for us to be thinking at all times, critically thinking, evaluating situations, and moving on the strength of your evaluation. In the same way, when you were incarcerated and you moved into a new cell block or to a new prison, in that new environment, you evaluated your surroundings. You watched and you listened and you learned who was dangerous and who was a good person and who was to be avoided. It's the same thing on the outside. Don't let the powers of observation that you honed and you used so successfully on the inside not be of value to you now that you are on the outside. This has been part 1 of Workplace Readiness, sponsored by the FreshStart at YourLibrary program. We will be coming to you with more information. Peace, power, and respect.